Hey guys, this is week 2 of the PCOS life, and this week we are talking about being diagnosed and our struggle to actually get there. And so in my last video you learned that I was just diagnosed in August of 2011, so it hasn't been very long, but I started noticing the symptoms long before that. So to start off, to start off, I've always struggled with my weight. I've always been a pretty fat kid. But it used to make sense. Like, I was very inactive as a child. Like, I took dance classes sometimes, but I was pretty inactive, so it kind of made sense until I got to high school, and I joined dance team, and between dance team, dance class, and my hour and a half gym classes, the weight just wasn't coming off. And I've always had this really big stomach. Like, compared to the rest of my body, it was extremely large. And I had this tiny chest and this huge stomach, and I was just very, very disproportional. And then my first period, I was in 6th or 7th grade, and it just never regulated. I mean, by the time I was 15, 16, I was like, hey mom, like, my periods still aren't regular. Like, I don't think that's normal. And she's like, no, you're still young. It takes time for people to, like, regulate. Like, it takes everyone a different amount of time. You're fine. I was like, alright, if you say so. I mean, I don't believe you, but, you know, you're the doctor. And then when I was 15 or 16, I started getting really bad acne. And, like, my face had always been clear before. Like, it was clear and smooth and lovely. And then I started getting really bad breakouts. My mom would always be like, hey, Nicole, you're breaking out. I'm like, yeah, I know. I noticed, and there's nothing I can do about it. I tried Proactive and Skin ID and all sorts of other face washes and acne stuff, and none of it worked. My acne would not go away. It was terrible. And then my mom also started noticing my hair, and, like, on my face and my neck, it's really bad, and, like, my lips. And then I started noticing that, like, my stomach and my chest and, like, my arms are pretty hairy. But I was never too concerned about that, I guess. But it just didn't seem normal. I mean, I'm a girl. I've always been a pretty hairy person, though. I know it's a really cute thing to admit, but, like, even as a child, I was kinda hairy. And yeah. But then when I was in my freshman or sophomore year of high school, I remember being in the car with my mom, and she had one of her women's magazines in there. And there was an article on, like, women's health issues that go undiagnosed. That was, like, the top 10 or something like that. And one of them was PCOS. And so I read the symptoms, and it was talking about, like, acne and hair and weight and periods, and I was like, I have that. And my mom was like, Nicole, stop diagnosing yourself. You don't have that. You're 15, 16, whatever years old. I was like, I think I have it. And I think at the time I was just kind of looking for an excuse because it would make sense. Because, like, I was like, I can't lose weight. And, like, it's easier to blame it on something than say that you're lazy. But, like, I wasn't lazy. And so that was that. But, like, she didn't listen to me, obviously. And I never go to the doctor. But then my junior year, finally went to the doctor. But it was for, like, a physical for school or something. And I told the doctor about my symptoms, and he said my periods were fine. And remember, at the time, I was 17 years old. I'd been getting my period for over, like, 5.5 years at this point. And he's still telling me it's normal. I'm like, I don't think that's true. It's been over 5.5 years, and I'm still not getting my period. I would get them, like, 5 to 9 times a year, anywhere between that. It had started getting better, but I still wasn't getting them. And then when I did get them, they'd be like 6 to 9 days. It was awful. But he said it was because of that and the excess hair. He was like, oh, it's not even that bad. It's probably just because you're Greek. And I'm like, well, if you're going to say that I have a lot of hair because I'm Greek, then why the hell is my skin so light? Like, I glow in the sun. Well, I guess you can't tell right now. But I'm really pale. So, for him to, like, say one thing, he just said it wasn't a problem. I was like, alright, if you say so. I mean, you're the doctor, but you kind of seem like an idiot. So then another year went by, and I kept researching it, and I was like... And then another thing I found is that, obviously, the high testosterone levels usually means anger, or, like, anxiety and all this stuff, and, like, aggression, and I've always been a very angry person, and a very aggressive person, and so, like, maybe that was it. And I think this is the one thing my mom was like, that would explain why you're always so angry and like screaming all the time. Yeah, I guess so. And so not my senior year, but like 2 or 3 weeks before I left for college, very inconvenient timing, I had to go get a physical again. So I went to a new doctor. I like her much better, and I told her about my symptoms and even the anger, and she was like, there's this thing called polycystic ovarian syndrome. It sounds like you might have it. And I'm just like nodding along in my head. I'm thinking, yep, I know. I've known for a few years now. No one listened to me, but like, whatever. It was like the first thing she said. So I was happy with that, and she referred me to an endocrinologist. And I went to him like the next day. So I was leaving for school really soon. And he like looked at my body and like my hair and stuff, and then he did blood workup, and my testosterone levels are high, and then he sent me for an ultrasound, and cysts on my ovaries, polycystic ovarian syndrome. And something interesting, at least I think it's interesting. So like you have your uterus and then ovaries. One of my ovaries is above my uterus. They just said it's like a weird anatomical thing. I just thought it was interesting. I don't think it actually matters, but just thought I'd share. And so that was that, and he told me to go to a gyno so they could prescribe me birth control, but there's no appointments open, so my other doctor just gave me birth control, and I've been on that since, but I just switched because it was making me sick. And he didn't want to start me on metformin yet, because if the birth control could lower my testosterone levels, then he didn't see the need to. And so I've been on that, and then I went back to see him over spring break, and my testosterone levels went down. So I guess it's working. I mean, I noticed that my hair has been getting worse, and it hasn't helped with anything else, but my periods are regular, so that's good. And yeah, but then I guess during the first blood workup, I don't think this has anything to do with PCOS, but maybe some of you also have struggled with this along with PCOS, maybe. I don't know if it's a common thing, but my thyroid level was, I feel like he said it was normal before, but in the blood workup he just did over spring break, my thyroid level's off, which makes sense because my mom has hypothyroidism, but I have an underactive thyroid, so, but it wasn't like too off, so he said he treats it by the symptom. So I told him about like the trouble losing weight and my exhaustion all the time and that coarse hair. Like some of the symptoms of the two conditions overlap, so I'm not really sure which is because of which. But he started me on 25 mcgs, I think, of Synthroid, it's something like that. And we're gonna see how that works. And if it doesn't work, he'll just up my whatever it's called. Yeah. It's supposed to like boost my metabolism, and that'll help with a bunch of things, like the fact that I'm really spacey and I'm insanely forgetful and exhausted all the time, and it should help with my weight and all that stuff. So I guess I have PCOS and hypothyroidism, or maybe just some of the symptoms of hypothyroidism. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, so those are the two things. So right now I'm just on Synthroid or whatever it's called, and my birth control. One for my periods, one for my thyroid. And hopefully in the long run those two things will help. Hopefully it'll help me lose some weight and gain some energy and all that lovely stuff. But yeah, that's my journey to becoming diagnosed. It wasn't too bad, I guess. It wasn't as excruciating as some of the other stories you hear, but it was frustrating, and there are still things that, like, I need to, like, talk to my doctor about. I need to go see a nutritionist and personal trainer, maybe? And maybe I'll start on other medications. I'm not really sure, but Obviously, I'll keep you guys updated, and yeah, until next time again, bye.